Hello, good morning. A couple minutes late here at like 9, no, maybe it was 8:58. I thought, ooh, I could really use another cup of coffee. So thanks for giving me the time to do that. And yes, how's everyone doing? It's October. Are you kidding me? How is it October? I don't actually believe that it's October. I've got my flannel on. I'm trying to convince myself. And last night I was, excuse me, picking up my daughter from a friend's house. Hold on one second. We've got the termite exterminator guy outside. Stay. She's fine. She seems mean, but she's like, she wouldn't hurt a fly. Let go. Okay, bye. Okay, that was fun. Sorry, really bad timing. And Mo's gonna totally bark probably, because now the guy is spraying all the way around the house. I don't know what I was gonna say, but that, what was I saying? That completely wrecked me. Oh, do you ever have a morning when you're like, have your cup of coffee and then you're like, actually, I think I need another one. That was me this morning. So had to make another cup. And yeah, how's it going? October. Oh, that's what I was going to say. Last night, picking up my daughter from a friend's house, they were making a cake for biology of a diagram of the cell with the membrane and the organelles and all that. Yeah, pretty fun. Anyway, on the way home, this was the point. On the way home, it started sprinkling. Sprinkling here in October, no way. And so then we look at the weather and it says that there's a 90% chance of rain at 10 o'clock. So my daughter and I are all excited because we love to like lay in bed and hear the rain as we fall asleep. It never rained. So here we go. I'm wearing my flannel, trying to convince myself that it's October. Although it looks like it's probably going to be about 80 today. So it's beautiful. I'm totally thankful for our beautiful, sunny, blue sky weather. But anyway, that's me. Had a pretty fun weekend. My son turned 17. Thanks for all the birthday wishes on, on Facebook, or Instagram, whichever one you are on. Yeah, what else happened? Oh, we had a giveaway happen with the winner, Sharon. She won the little covered wagons and the friendship bracelets, and she lives in Australia. So I'm sending this package to Australia today. I think I'm getting it in the mail. So anyway, pretty fun. What else happened? Oh, man, I'm trying to remember all the things that happened, but I got something in the mail from Marilyn. Sent me the Pioneer Woman magazine so that I could have a copy of the little house spread in here. Now I'm not finding it, but you guys have all seen it. So, no. So anyway, I was so surprised. Like, I just asked people, where do you get this from? Because I don't know if I live in the boonies or something, but like, I don't shop at grocery stores that have this in the stands. Like, I'm like, I don't even know. And I don't go to Target and look at the magazine rack. I just don't. So I was like, oh my gosh, how do you get this magazine? This is really cool. Anyway, so thank you, Marilyn. That was so sweet of you. I couldn't believe it when it was sitting in my P.O. box. So super, super fun. And speaking of Little House mentions, crazy that we're like, little houses just popping up everywhere. But last night, my husband and my son and I, we were watching Lost. I don't know if you guys have watched that show, long time ago, but so probably like maybe during quarantine, we started watching it with my son. He'd never seen it. And we just watched like an episode at a time. Seriously crazy. I didn't put anything on silent. I didn't stop the notifications. I've got the dog barking and the pest guy spraying around my house. So excuse the bad timing. This is definitely my real life right here. Anyway, so we're watching Lost last night, and I don't know if you know the story, whatever. We're thinking season, 3 or 4 or something like that. But anyway, they talk about Little House on the Prairie last night, and I'm dying laughing. Sawyer, who's kind of like the redneck tough guy, all of a sudden he sits there and he starts talking about how he had mono for 2 months and watched Little House on the Prairie because it was the only channel that they had. And I was just laughing so hard that Little House is like this total, like, it's so iconic. It's everywhere if you look for it. And you know what? It kind of reminds me, I'm going to go on the other side here. It kind of reminds me of if we just open up our eyes to the goodness of God. It's everywhere. It's literally everywhere. And when you're watching a random show, when you flip through a magazine, when you walk on the beach, when you see a sunset, when you hug a loved one, you can't help but think of the goodness of God. So, yes, so good. Anyway, let's see. I've got a chapter for you, and I also have a story after that because I can't remember who it was, but someone asked if I would tell a story. So, our chapter today is chapter 51, and it's on page 101. And it's from one of my favorite episodes, season 5, episode 17, Dance With Me. This is the episode when Toby No is trying to win the affections of, what's her name? Everyone help me out. What's her name? Miss Cooper. Yes. And there's a really awesome scene with me and Ray Bolger where he's just bearing his soul about his love interest, and she's looking at him like, I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, love that episode. It's so good. But this quote is one of my favorite quotes. And the chapter is called Copycat Love. And the quote is from Miss Cooper, and it says, "That man loves me, and I'm talking to a cat." All right. There are times in life when we settle for a lesser kind of love. We rely on people or things in clear view instead of on the perfect love that's sometimes hard to see. Miss Cooper recognized the love of her cat was nothing compared to the love of a man. Toby No was a glimpse of a greater affection than she had ever known. But no human love can compare to the relentless love of God. In high school, I chased after too many relationships. If I didn't have a boy by my side, I felt empty. The forever-shaped space divinely created inside our hearts is something only God can fill. My attempt to stuff that space with other relationships didn't work out so well. Each of those friendships ended while the search for love continued. I finally had to say, I'm done. My heart couldn't handle any more breaking. I took a holiday from dating and found my Father tenderly beckoning me to himself. People don't have the capacity to love the way God can. By definition, God is love. He's not a copycat or reflection of a higher love. His love makes all other versions of love possible. People and cats might love us, but they will never give us the fulfillment that comes from a relationship with the Lord. Dive deep into his lavish gift of love. And the verse says, Isaiah 54:10, it says, "For the mountains may move and the hills disappear, but even then my faithful love for you will remain. My covenant of blessing will never be broken, says the Lord, who has mercy on you." Yes. Copycat love. What do we look at to fill us when there's really only one true love that can fill us? What is that you tend to run towards when really God is just running after us and all we have to do is stop and realize that he is? Yeah, I definitely tried to fill my heart with so many lesser forms of love when I was younger. I had this crazy thing in college. It was like, this sounds so bad. This crazy thing in college where it was like the 13 Club. My favorite number is 13, you know that. But it was the 13 Club and how many people had dated 13 or more people and still hadn't found love. And it was like, man. When really God was just waiting for me to realize that he was all that I needed. So that's it for that. But someone asked me, I don't know if it was last week or the week before, I can't remember, if I would share my salvation story. And, you know, I don't share my salvation story very often because sometimes it doesn't feel that epic. Do you know what I mean? So I think sometimes we do that. We think we can only share the like really good stories or really funny stories or really life-changing stories or whatever. But in Psalms 107, it says, "Let the redeemed of the Lord tell their story. Those he redeemed from the hand of the foe. Those he rescued from the hand of the foe." And you know, the foe can be whatever. The foe could be anything that's not God's best, right? For me, the hand of the foe was a broken home. I grew up in a broken home. I didn't have a father around until I was probably 7 or so, 6 or 7. And I felt unwanted. I felt rejected. And so this whole like God thing, your father in heaven thing, didn't really make sense to me. My stepdad entered the picture, who I talk about all the time, who I love dearly, and he is gone. But I talk about him, and he was a wonderful father, but I still had a really messed up view of what a father was. Like, really, really skewed. And I just felt like a father was not really dependable and maybe a little manipulative and kind of scary because of the way that I grew up. Like, after my mom and my stepdad got married, I grew up in a Christian home. We went to church. We did all the things, but it still was a really weird surrender. And it didn't happen until I was, 13 or 14 years old, right before high school. And I was at camp. And, you know, it was interesting. I felt like I was already a believer, but I hadn't like really given that part of my heart away. That like part that you give to a father who you think is going to love you forever. I just didn't know how to do that. And I was at camp, and the whole message was about forgiveness and how to forgive the people in your life so that you can be forgiven. And for me, it was like forgiving my dad, not so that we could have a relationship, because it wasn't really possible at that time, but forgiving my dad so that I could actually learn to trust God. Like, learn to say, I know you're always here for me, and I believe that you will be, even though that's still like, it's a really hard thing for me because I sometimes don't know. Like, I get that doubt in my head, like, maybe you don't love me, maybe you don't. I don't know. Anyway, that is basically my salvation story. And that's how I finally truly surrendered my life to follow Jesus. So, yeah. Anyway, I wonder if you think sometimes that your story is not epic enough to share. I know that even while I was talking, I was like, these people probably don't even care about this. But I just have to say that every single story matters. Every way that God is touching your heart, every memory that you have that moves you to tears, every grief, every fear. Yeah. So anyway, that's it for today. I hope that you are doing well, and I will see you next week. Bye.